Let's fix a TPMS light on a vehicle. I'll walk you through what I would do and give you options so that you may or may not be able to fix it yourself. Some vehicles will give you a readout of the PSI on each one of the sensors, so you know, oh, the front left's bad, you know, something like that. This one, let's say we don't have a readout, we need to figure out which sensor's bad, if not multiple. Most tire pressure sensors are rated for 7 to 10 years. They have little batteries in them, if you didn't know. And it's natural after the vehicle gets about 10 years old that they can kick on and off. You go for a drive and it says it's on, and then all of a sudden it turns back on, and you know, that could be a sign of your pressure's right on the line of being low, or a battery is starting to go out. I've had videos on how to change tire sensors, but let me break it down for you. If you take your wheel off, you gotta let the air out and break the bead. So how do we break the bead if we don't have a tire machine like good old Carl over here? Well, one thing you can do, just be very careful. Common sense, guys, common sense. You can take the tire, lay it flat, put a nice thick board on the edge of the tire, and then drive up on it with another vehicle and try to break the bead that way. I used to do that back in the day before I owned all these fancy tools for, you know, just for myself, before I had this shop. And some tires have much tighter beads than others. Some you could, you know, break the bead by easy peasy, and some of them, especially like your low profiles, you're gonna have a lot of harder time on. Once you break just the outside bead, then you can access that tire sensor, which is attached to this valve stem on most vehicles. Some vehicles, like a lot of Fords, have a big strap around it with a tire sensor on it, and that is going to be a lot trickier to change unless you dismount the whole tire, but you don't see those a lot. I'll show you a replacement valve stem and tire sensor so you can see what I'm talking about. Most of them have a little Torx bit that bolts into the tire sensor, so this snaps into your wheel. That's your valve stem, and bolted on is your tire sensor. Now here's one style here that you won't run into a lot. Most of them are gonna be this guy right here, easy peasy, but some companies just like to make things complicated. So yeah, it's bolted into the back of there, the little screw, and you can change the sensor. I like to put them on my little table right here, and once the outside bead is broken, I can take my tire bar and press down on the bead next to the sensor, shove a 2x4 on that side, do it to the right side of it, and that gives me enough room to get a little Torx bit in there, take the sensor off, put a new sensor on, boom. Put a little tire sealer around the rim just in case, because you broke it down, fill it back up with air to what is specified on your tire place card. You will find your information on the driver's side door jamb, either here or tucked in here. There's your tire information, and these sensors are going to want to see 35 psi. Once you drop so low, let's say 28 psi, start kicking on that low tire light. So that's if we know which sensor we're going to replace. What if it's just got one of them lights that shows the TPMS light, so you know one of the sensors is going bad or one of your tires is low, and it doesn't show front left, front right, rear left, rear right, so it doesn't tell you which one it is. And then you also got to consider, what if the tires were rotated and nobody reprogrammed it, and it's a vehicle that doesn't auto correct after rotation? There are some vehicles like that out there. Well, I'm going to show you with my scanner how I find out which one is bad. You can get scanners that are not a couple $1,000s, that are just for TPMS. They're starting to get cheaper, more available. There's some on Amazon and wherever. But I'm going to show you with my scanner, and we're going to figure out which one of the 4 or multiple are bad on this 2012 F-150. This scanner is available. I have it in my Amazon store. Go check it out. Give me some clicks. It's the Max Assist MS906, and at the end it says TS. That means it can do tire sensors. Right here's a little radio signal. Communicates via radio waves to the tire sensor inside this wheel. I think I paid about $3,000 for this when it was new, and now you can get this scanner for around $1,200 or so with I believe it's 3 years of free updates, and after that you can still use it, but like say you update up to 2027, and after 3 years then you can't update. So you're at, I just totally lost my train of thought. Whatever, you can still use it. So this one is updated to 2017. If I go to a vehicle that's newer than 2017 and I want to make sure I'm getting all the correct data, I use one of my other scanners. I just don't feel like paying for updates when I get free scanners sent to me all the time. So we're going to go to the front left tire here. It's going to be difficult to film by myself. So, and we're going to hold the radio that's where the radio waves come out, right up to that tire sensor. So yeah, you can use touchscreen or a mouse. I like my mouse. And we go to trigger. So right now it's searching for the front left tire sensor. There we go. It sensed it right away. Shows our megahertz, the temperature inside the tire, the PSI, and battery says okay. Now let's go around and do this. Now it's going to go in order to the front right, and then rear left. I'm going to go around and I'll show you what data I pull. As you can see, all our tire sensors are A-OK, but you can see we're low on the rear right and the rear left. I was told this would be a tire sensor problem, but no, it's just a low pressure problem. So where do we go from here? Fill them up to, what did it say, 35 PSI all the way around. And then we are going to check for leaks. Because, yeah, if it doesn't have any leaks, somebody underinflated it. Now that we have that information, let's say you want to change the tire sensors yourself. Let me give you just a little walkthrough on which sensors you should buy. Many sensors need specific software to program. There's something called clonable sensors, and you can walk through a manual procedure. If we go to our Relearn right here on our scanner, we have a manual procedure, as well as with the scanner we can also relearn. And you can see it has a manual procedure to bring it into train mode. So there's almost always a manual procedure, so you don't need a scanner in order to do a relearn. So you're going to identify which type of sensor you have. You can see some are aluminum stems, some are rubber stems. There's replacement valve stems. You can see it says 315 megahertz, which should be, all of them should be 315, and some years are like changeover years. Depending on the manufacturing date, it could be a different sensor. But it says requires a TPMS tool that has quick sensor software prior to installation. So if you don't have a fancy scanner, you're going to scroll down, and these are rubber valve stems, and we're going to look for one that says clonable. We want one that says clonable. Right there we have one, $44.87, 2 in stock, clonable sensor. So we're going to install this, and we may or may not have to go through the relearn procedure, the manual one. Some of these vehicles will auto relearn every 15 minutes, every 15 miles, or if you're driving a certain speed for a certain amount of time, it'll do an auto relearn procedure and you'll be good to go. So it's per vehicle, guys. Every vehicle has different rules to follow. And you can see all the different styles. So you're going to want, we know this one's 315 megahertz with a rubber valve stem. We want a clonable ID. Bada boom, there's our sensor. Typically your clonable sensors are going to be more expensive. If you have a certain type of software, like the quick software, that's a big one. Autel has come out with some great stuff where they actually have clip-in sensors. There's just a little button you press to release instead of having to really press down the tire bead and get a socket, a torque socket bit in there and take it off. You get your hand in there, clip your new one on, program it with your Autel software, and that is the reason why I really am thinking about updating this Autel scanner, because they are cheap. They're like 20, 25 bucks a piece compared to 30, 40, 50, $60 a piece. So in the long run, it's going to save a lot of money if you're doing a lot of sensors. I mean, I typically you know, do a tire sensor every other week or so, you know, who knows, might have a break in between doing a bunch of them and may have a bunch one week, never know. Well, that's all I can think of off the top of my head for TPMS systems at the moment. That Altel scanner I have also does read codes. It's just like, you know, just like check engine light codes, and can tell you that way as well, so that I may or may not need to actually go around and trigger each sensor and see if they're working. But yeah, I can't think of anything else. I hope this was helpful, and kind of explained some stuff about TPMS for people that are interested in it, or possibly looking to tackle something themselves, you know. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one. As suspected, for that front right, or that rear right, I should say, sprayed it down with soapy water. Found this in it. Fat boy. Just right there, I got the hole plugged with my reamer tool. Well, not plugged, letting air out. But, yep, time to fix her.